MD, this is your first spot on an ACA show, which is amazing. I feel privileged that I'm able to usher you into the fold. Um, you reached out to us, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Tell our audience a little bit about why you felt that you needed to do that.
So I listen to the podcasts of all sort of the ACA shows while I'm doing all of my lab experiments and things like that.
Okay.
And the thing that I realized is that a lot of the problems that I think people have, a lot of the callers have, is a misattribution of causation, right? So they
Mm-hmm.
see thing A, event A, and they see consequence B, or what they perceive to be consequence B, and they draw a link there. And they say, well, this happened and then this happened, so there must be a causal relationship, right? A must have caused B. And because of the way that we're trained to think in a PhD and in the sciences, and because I'm doing it every day, I am thinking like, well, how can people think this? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like there's so many steps in between A and B that everyone's overlooking. And so my hope is that if people have these questions, that I can shine a little bit of light on that and point out some of the steps that you'd need to go to if you want to actually draw that causal link. You know, there's going to be, you can't just go straight from A to B. You got to go to A and then A1 and A2 and A3. There's a
Right.
whole bunch of steps in between these two before you can make a reasonable conclusion that one leads to the other.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of folks out there that tend to jump from hypothesis to conclusion and skip the most important steps in the middle that make the scientific process what it is. So I think that's great that you're here, and I think you're going to be a great guest for the show. Yeah, this is going to be interesting. So you said that you're studying nanotechnology. Now, I want you to tell me a little bit about that because I'll tell you why later. But you already know we were talking a little bit about it before the show. But tell me more about technology, nanotechnology, and how it applies to your research.
Sure. So, I mean, I think that people overestimate the sophistication of nano blank, right? It's just sort of like a buzzword. It's like quantum, right?
Right.
So when we think about things medically and biologically, there are different scales, obviously. And so the smallest scale that we usually work with when we're talking about medicine are like small molecule drugs, things like aspirin, right? And those
Mm-hmm.
are like a handful of atoms sort of thing, right? And sort of the next big step up is when you get to the nanomedicine. So it's actually bigger. Like people think of nano as being really small, but it's actually bigger than a lot of the drugs that we use. But the thing that's unique about it is that nano ends up being about the size of sort of biology. A lot of things in biology are nano size. You know, cells end up being sort of in that nano size region. And so there's a lot of hope that we can use nanotechnologies that are built on the same scale to affect biology. And so my research focuses on delivering nanoparticles with specific properties to cancer cells, essentially. And it's the property of these nanomedicines is that they preferentially accumulate in cancer cells. So in theory, it's like that silver bullet that everyone's looking for, right? You want a therapeutic or a drug or a treatment that
Right.
will only destroy the tumor. Because the problem that we face right now with chemotherapy and all that stuff is that the chemotherapy is like a poison. It poisons everything. And the whole principle is that the things that are growing the fastest, which are the cancer cells, are the ones that are going to consume more of the toxin and therefore die more quickly. And you hope that the rest of your cells will be okay. And so with nanomedicine, we try to avoid all of that toxicity to your normal cells by delivering the drug or the treatment or whatever it is specifically to the tumor. And now I do that. So I work with nanomedicines, but I also work with lasers because this nanomedicine that I'm working with is activated by lasers. So I give an injection of a nanomedicine to a test animal, and then I with a tumor, and then I shine a laser on the tumor, and I try to kill the tumor as best I can. So that's essentially what I do on a daily basis.
I'm even more convinced that you're working for Skynet now. I'm not gonna lie.
Cyberdyne Systems.
I'm not sure what your real name is, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it might be Miles Dyson. Yeah, we actually talked about animal testing on a recent episode of the Nonprofits that will be airing on Sunday between Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience. And I
Cool.
had some interesting perspectives on that. So, yeah, definitely tune in for that, folks.